Welcome to A Chat with Heart podcast. I'm your host, Christina Martin. I'm here to guide us on this journey of heartfelt and uncensored conversations with friends I've met while touring my music in Europe and across North America, and people who have life experience that I genuinely believe we can all learn from. Our personal stories have great power to heal, influence, and inspire. All we have to do is show up for the conversation. If we just talk about it, we could shine a light, we could break a dark day. If we just talk about it, we can cut away, we can make a brighter day. It is hilarious, the things that we hold on to from our childhood. I found this letter that I wrote, I'm thinking, as a school project, dated May 9th, 1993. I thought I'd share that with you. It's riddled with spelling errors. Yeah, here we go. Dear Mr. President, my name is Christina Martin, and I live in Grand Falls, New Brunswick, Canada. I am 13 years old, and don't worry, I'm an American, and I am damned proud to be one right now. Now, I'm not sure why I was at that moment, but anyway. But I found something very disturbing one day while watching the news. Wait, going back to, already you can see I'm a people pleaser. It sounds like I have some disappointing news to share with the president, and I want him to know that I'm a proud American. Okay, thousands of miles away, I continue to write here, there was a little girl in Bosnia who had a terrible illness. When asked to be sent to America, underline, for help, she was refused, only because she was not injured externally. The next day in Bosnia, there was a badly injured bear. Naturally, he had to be sent quickly to America so he could be helped. So my point is, there is a little girl in this world who is probably dead now because America would not help her out. Oh, this turned dark really fast. But a friggin' bear could be shipped to America? I don't understand how you could have let this happen. Maybe I shouldn't blame you. And I understand that there are thousands of other wounded, page 3, and sick human beings, underline, that are terribly sick. I understand that America cannot help all of them. But we have enough bears on the American plate. We don't need to help the ones that are on the other side of the globe. I believe that little girl should have been brought to America instead. Whoa. And that little girl represents thousands of other people. Keep that in mind. Underlined. Then some stuff scribbled out. I'd like to think that America is the best place in the world to live, a place where people can be helped because America is the land of the free and the home of the brave. Did I get that right? Anyway, let people be proud of America and I think I meant to write, let America live up to her standards, exclamation point. Yours truly, I'm proud to be an American Canadian, Christina Martin. Wow. I don't really know what to say about that, but that's something I found from my vault. I wanted to share it with you. And clearly, I was thinking some deep thoughts. Not the best at presenting my case. I could have thrown in some research, maybe. I sort of feel bad for the bear. How about this, Christina, today? Couldn't we have saved the little girl and the bear? Couldn't we have found a way? I'm just saying. So today on A Chat with Heart is another one of my dearest friends. He tracked me down on MySpace back in 2007. Yes, I said MySpace. Some of my little heartbeat listeners would have not been born when MySpace was a thing. Anyway, Matt has been family for well over a decade now. I'm a huge fan of his spirit. He makes me laugh. I can completely be myself around him. I'm always learning from him, inspired by his actions to try and make the world a better place. And I'm a big fan of his singing and songwriting abilities. He's something special, folks. I believe he's on a great path with heart, awakening, connecting with nature, and something beyond himself. He's also the host of a new podcast called Drinking the Water. Check that out. Midway through this episode, you'll hear a snippet of the song Matt and I wrote here in my home back in fall of 2016. The song is called Where the Dark Meets the Light. Trigger warnings. In this episode, we talk about COVID because Matt has recently recovered from it. We talk about the different opinions people have about getting vaccinated. Matt is very courageous and shares his experience with mental illness and suicide. I thank Matt for this very deep chat with heart. I thought about calling this one the best episode yet, but I really love all the chats I've been having. I'm lucky to call him friend and soul brother. Here's my chat with heart with Matt Epp.
I'm in.
You're totally in. Don't tell Dale I said that.
Oh, gross.
It's so cool, though. Oh, my God. We both joke about having sex with you all the time.
You and Dale and I would be, I mean, if we were inclined, if we weren't already kind of chosen family, imagine how much fun we would be if we were a trio.
If we were that free.
If we were that, yeah, we're...
Yeah, I'm a little too prude, but the idea is amazing.
I like the idea because it would be the day-to-day stuff. I mean, I'm sure we'd, we all have our liberated parts and our prudish parts, but you imagine Absolutely. The kind of like day-to-day fun we'd have? Like,
do you want
to... were you going to say what I thought you were going to say?
Do you want to move in with us?
I think so. So yeah. me and Dale would be starting businesses like our spicy tortilla chips called Chos, and we would
super fucking hot.
Yeah, super fucking hot. And then we'd probably get into like raising, what are they called, scobies?
What's a SCOBY? I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Isn't that like one of those aliens that lives in the water and it changes it into kombucha? Right.
I think it is an alien. I don't know. I've never seen one, but yeah, y'all could. You would be great parents to. I think
that would be something that the Dale and I dynamic would bring to the trio relationship.
Have at it.
And me and you will find our thing.
Oh, we will. I'm sure
we'll find our thing.
This could be our thing. I mean, do you want to just move in and then co-host a chat with Heart, and then occasionally I'll pop on and be like a segment on Drinking the Water.
That's right. Yeah.
Your podcast. I think we do have it's a kind of marriage.
It's a lifelong commitment though.
I'm in it for the long haul.
Yeah, I'm here for you. Even death won't do us part.
Good. Because it'd be fun to meet up.
Yeah, after we all get toasted on a tour accident or whatever, and the next thing we're clearing brush at our country home in heaven.
Yeah.
And making a little fire because it's like always autumn there.
I just want you to know that I'm not good with fire. Like I almost started a brush fire here that it almost took out our neighborhood, and luckily we controlled it as the fire trucks were arriving. But yeah, anyway, I hear what you're saying, and I agree. But Dale and I talk about meeting up and maybe the afterlife if it's possible, and like we even have like the code words if we're unrecognizable to each other.
Oh yeah.
But we also, I don't know about Dale. I can't speak for him, but I am completely open to the idea that I really can't count on anything after or even in this lifetime. So, we may never see each other again. And it's just, so that's why it's really important to just appreciate each other.
Yeah. Be present now because that's probably all you got.
Yeah. So, Matthew, may I call you Matthew?
Yeah, you can. You can. Yeah.
Or George? Do you prefer George?
Don't do it. Don't do
What?
George.
But I know your middle name or your first name. I can't remember which it
That's,
is George.
it's my middle name. You're right.
I watched your Instagram video today and you opened up. Things have been rough. What's been going on?
Right. Well, I saw it coming in the fall, and more or less, I could just feel that this winter was going to be very difficult because my bucket, that idea of having a bucket that's full or empty, and what drains you and what fills you up. This last year, even as much time as I could spend outside in the sun or comfortable or positive, or even seeing family and friends, it wasn't enough to fill me up, and I could tell that I wasn't going to have the internal resources to handle the drain that was coming with the winter. Yeah, so it was weird to feel the depression coming and knowing it was coming, and also not knowing what to do about it. So I did reach out for the first time in my life. I contacted a therapist. I said, I think that things I could feel like they're gonna go bad. But this is the only person I really knew that I was on, like I admired this therapist. And so and she wasn't taking any clients. So then I just was like, okay, well, I tried, and I didn't try again. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how I was going to get there resource wise, like how I was going to pay for someone. So I just kind of like didn't have that tool going into this, and I plummeted. Mm-hmm. And one thing after the other, and I think it's past stuff. I think it's cyclical things from childhood and growing up, and struggles of trying to follow your heart, a path with heart find that through this world. And then of course the pandemic, especially the way that this country and some of the world has handled it, has been added to the grief, of course.
Oh yeah.
And so how I am. I'm deep feeling. I can sort of take on the feelings of those around me and the environment I'm in. So one thing after the other contributed to it, I guess. And I ended up in a place of just despair and not be able to know how to lift out of it. Even though I was grateful for a lot of things, and even though I could make a list of all the stuff I'm grateful for,
yeah,
it wasn't helping, and I couldn't fill myself up. And then I got COVID.
Amazing.
Just before Christmas, which was
congratulations. Is there a little bit of like, okay, well, that's over with?
100%. Of course, it's a thing that people are afraid of, but I think that we've turned it into a whole thing that it's not, because there's nothing evil inherently about something that the earth is sending to balance herself. And so this happens, of course, in nature all the time, and we don't call it evil. We don't call it awful and horrible and evil and send this negative energy towards something that's trying to keep the balance of life for all things. In fact, let's say we assumed that this coronavirus was natural in a lot of ways. It's just coming from natural law. Like, we've pushed the planet so far, and the only way that we're going to be able to exist into the future as human beings, because we don't contribute very much. And so the only way we'll be able to go forward is if we start to learn to live in balance. So we needed this lesson. But really, it's bringing healing. And there's some perspectives that it's helping us in a lot of ways. And it's a growing pain if we look at it that way. And to be honest, my personal experience with it was, I probably would have healed from it faster had I not been unable to emotionally or spirit. I don't even know how to say it. I haven't felt that kind of depression for a long, long time. I think I could have healed faster had I not been in that emotional place.
But when you are down like that is when the undealt with issues in your life from your past, things that maybe we didn't give the attention to, are liable to creep in and take over. Even if some of them are just stories that we've made up over the years, maybe they don't really exist, but maybe they do exist.
Right.
I mean, it depends what it is.
Like they talk about in the 4 agreements, the idea that if somebody said you're stupid when you're a kid, if you agreed with it, if you made, then you made that, that's an agreement, and you've made an attachment to that idea that you're stupid, but you're not. But either way, you've made that part of your identity because you had to agree to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got all this subconscious stuff, some negative patterns, let's say, that came from my upbringing, like when I was a kid. Speaking of depression, when I was young, there had been a moment where I tried to kill myself and take my life, and I couldn't see a way out, right? And what had happened for me was that one of my younger brothers walked into the room just as I was about to step off this larger place, and I had the noose around my neck and everything, and I couldn't see my way out of what I was dealing with, and I was a teenager, and it was, there just wasn't an escape, or I didn't even know of a place that wasn't full of this kind of tough stuff. But my brother showing up was a miracle. My little brother opening the door and seeing me, and even though he was a little kid, understanding it, bursting into tears, and me realizing that I would give my life for him. I would do anything to make sure that I didn't hurt my family like that, my siblings. And so, of course, that saved my life. And I took that noose off, and I knew I would never do that, no matter how much I felt like that again. I realized that my life could, and that I could hurt other people in that way. And so there's been many times in my life that my music or my interactions with humans has come back to me. And I think that because it's a sensitive place in my life, potentially that's why, let's say, the universe or God or whatever allows that message to get to me more. Potentially, I know better now, but I haven't really done whatever work it takes to really truly deal with that. So when I lose my positive charge and I go down to the most basic stuff, I still go back down there, and it's like, oh, that's my old friend, where I'm a victim, or my old critical self that really berates me and also others, and is impatient and is just despair, and it becomes hateful and angry. You want to parent yourself. You want to say, like, okay, I know better. I need to comfort my hurting inner child, that kind of thing. But when you have nothing left, I want to tell you something cool that happened, though, because I can't explain this.
I don't have time. Well, this has been a great episode of A Chat with Heart with Matthew George. I'm glad we got to the heart of the matter.
Let's just leave it there. Yeah.
Sorry. No, we do the sponsorship ads. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Of course I want to hear.
What a cliffhanger. Yeah. I want to hear. Will Matt make it through?
Yeah. Join us in episode 53 next in the year 2024.
For part 2.
Please tell me, and this is one thing I'm working on, is derailing my guests. So
I think it's great if you especially if it's not someone like me that gets derailed so willingly. I had a very cathartic, heavy grief cry and series of cries listening to your song "Stay With Me."
Oh, thank you.
And that's for a song and the spiritual environment that you brought, and I'm sure you brought that because it's in what you did. You guys, what you created there, the song and the recording and every intention you put into it, that's not just me that's going to feel that way and feels that way. But
I think it might just be you, actually.
Well,
I think it might.
Thank you for that huge effort that you did just for me.
I did it just for you. I think it's a reflection of how, even though that song was technically written a couple years ago,
right? How
relevant is it now? I feel like it reflects a lot of definitely what I really have experienced in the last couple of years. So maybe I did write it for you, though, or for all of us.
I think people that are dedicated to this work, which is a spiritual work, songwriting, it's a channeling thing, regardless of if we think about it that way or not. it is that way. I know that some things that I did, and I know several people, and yourself included, where the work that we did coming into this needed to be there. And it was prophetic, because it's not that we have this extra spiritual gift or anything, but it is built into the work we do. And so with that song, it created this spiritually safe environment for my heavy, heavy, heavy held grief and sadness to come out. And it was a grief about the destruction and all of the loss, and all of the loss of the life that is us, and those aren't separate from us. Every time that happens, every time there's a huge fire, every time there's a new part of the ocean that dies, and so on, all of this stuff in the world that's happening is actually happening to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happening to us, and we are doing it. There's this really hard time that we have with existing especially when we're becoming more aware of it. And that sadness was already there for me, but that song allowed me to feel it. And I think we have to accept that sometimes we're going to be at the very bottom, and then sometimes things are going to change, even when it seems impossible. And that's what I want to tell you about. I was experiencing this, being down and being, sick, whatever, just having a flu. That's how it felt, just like a bit delirious and sweats and whatever. And I just didn't think I could go on, and I didn't know what that meant. It wasn't the physical part, it wasn't the COVID, it was life. So, and then when I got better, my friend Isaac Murdoch gave me some medicine, like from these forests up around this land here that he had put.
Where's here?
Assembled, just Ontario, his traditional lands, up by Serpent River First Nation, where he picked it. But he gave me some medicine, and so I was drinking that medicine to help me heal. And I don't know if it was that stuff, or it was the prayers, or it was the fact that, like, he was there for me and checking in all the time. But when I got better from physically started healing, it was only a few days later, and something huge just happened. And it just happened on a Friday. Like, before that, I had less than nothing. I didn't know how to go on. But something spiritually happened. It's almost like I woke up again.
Was there at any point did you surrender, or like just kind of go, let go? Or were you like,
Just accept it. Yeah, there was that advice had been given to me, so it was consciously in my head to just accept. I didn't have any revelation or any aha moment. I almost think that COVID brought it, and it came to me as a real gift. And it came right at this beautiful time. I've heard people that are a bit more ethereal and kind of out there talk about that this is coming as something that is supposed to free trapped souls, and it's coming as a self-healing power kind of thing. And who knows, right? But my experience was, I was like, what did that come with it?
Interesting.
Was I just liberated from all of this fucking bullshit, like fear mongering that has happened for 2 years around the world, where we're supposed to be afraid of this boogeyman? But now that it's come into my life, and I can be thankful for my natural body's immune system, what it can do, and how it can welcome it, and how it can make me stronger. And did that just give me a huge lesson with everything else I'm struggling with?
You had mentioned, the childhood stuff, and why do we hang on to some of those things? And I think the reason is because the people who said those things to us were the people that we were so attached to, we loved and looked up to so much in our lives. They were like gods to us, and they said it, and it was so hurtful.
Right, because you trusted them.
And we were so young and forming like this idea of like who we thought we were. And so when anything else in our life maybe came up that had to deal with like the same thing, my father isn't around anymore. I don't feel like I'm being disrespectful to share stories about him. But when I was 13 or 14, I spent summers with my dad in Trois-Rivières. He was hiding this is a longer story I'll have to get into in another episode.
Right.
Call the Heartbeat Hotline if you want to hear more about my father's story, and my story, I guess, as his daughter. But he paid for my riding lessons when I went to stay with him in the summer. And so at the stables where I was spending a lot of time, I befriended like the owners and my instructor, and we got really close, and they invited me overnight, and I would and they started giving me more responsibility with the horses, and I was so in love with the whole experience. And they invited me to stay over sometimes for 2 or 3 nights, and I would train the horses during the day with my instructor Isabel, and then have dinners at night with the family that owned the stables. And so one day I came home to my father's apartment after being away for probably 2 or 3 nights, and I was so happy. And as a teenager, like, I wasn't very happy for lots of other reasons. So when my dad saw me so happy and talking about this experience and the family, and I I had seen him be like angry, and I knew that he could be angry towards other people, and he would tell me about them, and it was very inappropriate relationship. He would confide in me and say all these things, negative things about mostly women in his life. And I remember coming in and telling him how my last days were and how happy it was. And then he just started screaming at me, and he called me an ungrateful bitch, and he said he paid these people to like hang out with me, and he paid for my lessons and all this. And he just was so angry. I know where that comes from in him, and I know that he had shit he didn't deal with. But that experience was one of many I've had with my father that really impacted. I mean, in some ways, I'm grateful for it because it made me a very sensitive, conscientious person. I didn't want to hurt his feelings, even though he was out of line, and it's ridiculous how out of line he was, but it did wake me up in some ways, even though it really, really hurt. So what I'm trying to say though is that I think the aha moment was really that those people that we care about the most in our lives, when they say something that maybe isn't true, or maybe it is, I don't know, but like, we hang on to that for so long and we believe it, yeah, about ourselves. And that's where the hard work comes. I still have, kind of moments like that when I'm working on.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you are because you deserve to flourish. Being a loving person, you want that for everyone to have that chance and to have that choice. Because
Yes.
we
Oh
do
my
have to
goodness.
choose it, right? And there's a lot of people that almost don't have that choice. I mean,
That's true.
so okay, let's boil down what we've just talked about.
Okay.
So
Let's boil it. Yeah. Let's just
boil it down.
Yeah. Okay.
You were like, okay, things kind of got fucked up from day one.
Yeah.
Day two, more fucking up. Day three,
Yeah.
consider ending it all. Learn that lesson the hard way. Commit to staying alive. Day
Yes.
four.
Day four.
Day four. You're now 4 days old.
Yeah.
You know what? So in my personal story that you had asked about,
Yeah.
I do have generally a positive outlook because because I do fight for my heart. I fight for that child inside of me, that pure who I am. I fight for that. I always did. And I always arranged my life and my circumstance and tried to make my choices the best way that I could so that I gave that kid a chance. I love little kids. I'm the oldest of 7 kids. I felt a responsibility to them, whether or not I carried it out in the best way. I did my best. I did my best to try to be there for them when I could.
As a sibling?
As a sibling, yeah. And only have certain capacity, right? But I'm able to somehow almost separate the grown Matt from that little kid Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
The one that was really sensitive, was the first kid around and was always picked on and moved around and stuff like that. I can still like care for that kid and be like, there's something magical there, and try to fight for that inside my life now. Yeah, all of that to say, and to kind of lift this conversation into a really positive future, building beautiful direction, is just that there's some huge gift that came out, and it happened for me in a way that I couldn't have anticipated it. And so I just want to say that as even like a little note of hope
Yeah.
on this chat with Heart, you know, where
People need that. People need to know.
Yeah, where you don't see your way out.
Yeah. Just
You
wait
know?
around. Please
Yeah.
wait. Just wait around. The shift is coming.
Yeah.
So, Matt, I'm about to read a card from the game called Fluster. And
so far, I love Fluster.
Yeah, Fluster's a conversation game created by Walker and Devin, her two friends, who actually are going to be on the podcast soon. And I love conversation games. I always play them. And when I found this, I had to reach out to them. Anyway, you know what, my little heartbeat listeners, you can check out Fluster on www.flustergame.com and use my promo code Christina15. Okay,
Christina, to get 15.
Yeah,
this is so professional.
And if it's not obvious, that's to get 15% off of the game.
Off of Christina.
They also have a expansion pack. Oh, guess what you're getting for Christmas?
Expansion pack from Fluster.
You're getting the Sexpansion pack.
Oh, nice.
So it's a thing.
Is it a real thing?
I don't have it yet because I know Dale's not going to play it with me, and
that's what me and you will do in our three-way marriage. That'll be our thing. Me and Dale will do the Scobies and Chose, and
you and I will play the Fluster, but the Sexpansion
with the Sexpansion pack. Yeah. Okay. Since you and him have the sex, me and you will have at least a conversation about it.
That's right.
I don't know.
Dale and I don't talk. You get that side of me.
It's 8 o'clock.
These are great. There's some great cards in here. I mean, there's 100 in the main pack. So, okay, here's one. If you had the chance to meet any of your relatives, past or future, who would you choose?
Past or future?
Yeah, I just thought of one. I would. Apparently, I had a great aunt, Corinne.
Yeah.
She died of breast cancer, and I have one of her rings. And I'm just curious. Because I'm a big fan of my grandmother and my great aunt Sue, big influences on me, strong women. I would have liked to have met this Corinne woman, find out more about her.
Well, I like your answer. I don't, you know what, there's so little information that has come down to my family about any of the people. But somebody told me one time that could see kind of into the spirit world around people and see some of the spirits that accompany you. And I had a conversation with someone that could see a grandfather type of person, but it wasn't my immediate grandfather. It was a man, an older man that was, as far as she could tell, was one of my ancestors, but that is very invested in is kind of like one of my, for lack of better words, because I don't know how this works, guardian spirits, and is guiding and sort of wishing me well and potentially orchestrating some things. So whoever that man is that's in my past as an ancestor that is kind of showing up around me and is a bit of a protector, I would like to meet that guy.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
All right, here's another Fluster question. What's the most romantic thing you've ever done, Matthew? It doesn't say Matthew on the card. Wouldn't that be great though? If you had your own like sponsored card.
It always says
Christina
your name.
Martin,
it's like, fuck, this is kind of I'm getting tired of this.
I'm gonna see if I could get my website put on one of their cards.
Right. When you listen to Christina Martin's song, Stay With Me, how hard do you cry? Little, medium, or very, very wet? That's
a good one. And they don't have, we should talk to Fluster about incorporating a multi-choice pack, and they'll have our faces on it. Oh, we could work with them on it. They're going to either love this idea or just curse the day that I reached out to them.
Yeah.
What's the most romantic thing you've ever done?
Did you handpick this one for me? Because it's a tough one. But
is it really? Probably because I wanted to talk about the most romantic thing I've done. So.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that. You know what? I'm not having one thing perfectly jump into my mind at the moment. But I will describe a really beautiful moment that was potentially one of the most romantic things. And again, I love this story because it doesn't, in fact, lead to sex. And because there's such good ones that are involved with lovemaking and in this romantic way, and I love those kinds of stories too, obviously. But
sex does sell. I just
a couple years ago, I went and did this writing month down in Mexico, and I met a woman when I was in the ocean. Right, I was every day I'd wait in the shade by the ocean, and I would write songs there, and I had to write a song every day. That was my commitment to myself, so I could be helpful as I was recharging. And so I met this woman. We were just floating in the waves, and we floated there for a couple of hours, just talking Spanish and English, and it was really nice. And then afterwards, she cut her foot on something. I helped her, and she left. And then I went to write my song, and I kind of just took this conversation with this person. I really connected with her, right? So I wrote this love song, imagining this beautiful future with which can happen in a split second for a man. It's like you're checking out your groceries or whatever. Somebody reaches for the celery, and you look at this person, and there's this brief moment, and you see your future and your children and all this, and then 5 seconds later you see someone else and you see your future with them. Like that could happen.
Is that what's happening in your mind?
That wow. Sometimes that happens. I think it's maybe more like that for younger men, and I don't know what it's like for anyone else. But in this moment, I kind of let my imagination sweep me away, right?
Well, and you're a songwriter.
And I'm a songwriting, and I'm looking
in the business of storytelling and making.
Exactly. Yeah. So I made this song that basically, in the song, we've both fallen in love. You know, it's very much like making love under the moonlight, kind of ocean. I don't know, Spanish song. It sounds like a bit Beach Boys and all this stuff. And I just went all the way into it as if it was a real thing, right? And then I'm so happy that I made it through this song, that I was leaving the beach, and this woman was walking back to the beach. She saw me on the road, and she's like, "Oh, hi, Matt. Like, did you write your song?" And I said, "Yeah, I made a song." And she said, "Well, what is it about?" And I said, "Well, it's a love song, and it's about you." She's like, "What? Can I hear it?" And so I said, "Well, sure." Like I wasn't embarrassed because I didn't know this person at all, right? So we went to the beach in this beautiful little nook with the waves lapping up at our toes, and it was getting dark, and the full moon was rising, and it was enormous. I was looking at my little paper, and she's got the phone light on my paper so I can read the lyrics and sing her this song. And it was one of the most romantic little moments where there wasn't really a romance happening between us, but there was one of these beautiful connections. Mm-hmm. And then we were both in a place of being like recently out of a relationship that was loaded with things that were difficult, a lot of hurt and emotional turmoil. And so neither of us were kind of in that space. And we just lay there under this enormous full moon with the ocean at our feet in the sand, and just lay there and talked about life and love and relationships and stuff for hours. And I think that was one of the most romantic things that I can remember, and just gifted me with hope for my heart, for the future. Oh, and I'm left with this song now. So it's called Architect Eyes. If we foster our imagination, then we can use it a lot easier, and it can be used a lot easier. From I think the other realms, like the spiritual places where messages need to come through to the people, and music does open the heart and things like that. Like we wrote that one song together that you released, and that was beautiful. And we also recorded that Tom Petty and Stevie Nicks song, "Stop Dragging My Heart Around."
I love it.
Which I totally love these things. And I also know, I just know in my heart that we have more collaboration to do.
I hope so. Well, you're moving in with us, I guess. So.
Yeah, we're going to have to, right? I'm going to have to pull my weight somehow.
How do you feel about wet basements?
I've got a number of friends that have chosen the same as I to keep our bodies basically not get this COVID vaccine stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I've chosen
I have friends, lots of friends that
yeah,
have made the same
yeah,
choice.
yeah. So there's a lot of people, and I think the cool thing is that if we were in each other's shoes, we'd probably do the same thing as the other person's doing. If anybody was in my total experience, they would choose the same as I as well. So we have to have that compassion with each other, because we do all have different ideas and different perspectives and needs, physically and otherwise, and reasons as well, just like values and whatever. So so I think that was another part of it. It was just feeling so much hate viscerally coming from people that professed to love me before. And this is just my personal thing.
Oh, I've heard this from friends of mine too. What is up with that? Like, it just seems like a huge waste of energy and the complete opposite of what we should be practicing. I feel like it should be a choice.
Yeah.
What I'm so heartbroken about is the aggression from the vaccinated towards any aggression, really. I mean, of either sides, but there are clearly two sides.
For me, the hardest part was just seeing that, because I didn't think for a second that it would happen like that. You know, the people that are important in my life, even somebody who's been kind of like a mentor to me, and then having a conversation and just hearing this opinion, because I haven't really talked about it in any kind of public way, because I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of people that in fact I work with, that I've collaborated with, that are in my family, that are in my friends, and that I look up to and everything. There's a number of people in there that have made their public, have decided in this time to make their public,
to just be like, hey, you're not getting this, I don't want to be around you.
You deserve to die, and like that kind of stuff, right? And that's as a public thing, and I'm like, man. But anyway, I don't want to go far into that, but that's when we're thinking about how to move forward in a beautiful way, to walk a path with heart. I just want to say that around that topic, that I feel full grace with everybody's decisions, and I'm just trying to encourage, because I want to say my experience as somebody that physically didn't need it and didn't want it or trust it or whatever. That's my experience, but it's more or less because I wanted to just like try to listen to the earth and not push back anymore. I wanted to accept what the earth needed to do. If it was my time, it was my time. I was okay. And that was where it came from, was about like the big picture for our children, for your children, for your children's children. That's where I'm coming from. And I just want to say, like, I have a big heart. I have a lot of love. And what I want to do is I want to be a beautiful contribution to the world that's going to serve as much as I can. I'm trying to serve with my life.
Yeah, you always have. Ever since the day I met you. That's what Matt Epp is about. It breaks my heart, because you have such a big heart, to know that, your heart's been broken by people that you love because of this. Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that, buddy. Like, when are you moving in with us? I'm gonna shift the mood temporarily. If you had to choose between dropping a friendship with me or Dale, maybe you're at gunpoint or
I have to drop you or Dale?
If I had to choose, I would choose Dale. But I was friends with you before Dale, so I think you should pick me. I'm a fan of Dale. I'm a fan of Dale.
You know what? I'm a fan of Dale too. But you know what? If I was if I had to choose, and I think Dale will understand this, because Dale and I, we kind of have a quiet understanding.
Don't touch my woman. Is that no?
Oh, that's yeah.
Well, you've never touched me ever.
That's true.
You didn't even try, and I haven't.
That's true. let's make this public right now.
Yeah, we've never done
you
it.
and I have never have never done it.
We've only thought about it. We've never acted on it. Dale's thought about it too.
We have a special thing, and so do Dale and I. We do have a special thing, and I think that I'd have to choose you.
Thank
like
you.
I just would, because like
You're
you're such a.
Go on.
I can't believe you made me do this, by the way.
This episode, or just this question?
That question. That's an evil thing to do. Dale, I love you so much. Chose forever. And even though,
see you later, sayonara, baby.
Yeah. What do I say? I have to say I chose Christina.
Yeah.
I'll probably regret it, Dale.
We'll see. We'll see after you move.
We'll see.
Okay, so you mentioned that you live in your van, and my question is, how is that? And is this one of the annoying questions people ask you about living in a van? Like,
no, I think people are very excited about it in general, because it has sort of reached the public.
Oh yeah, man. It's, everyone knows.
The hashtag, anyone on Instagram has seen the picture of the back doors open and the girl with her bikini butt.
I didn't see that.
No, every single picture of van life is the same thing, where the boyfriend that has a long hair up in a man bun takes a picture with a $4,000 camera of his girlfriend's bum.
That's right.
Lying on the bed overlooking some water.
Can we recreate that when you come visit us? I've got bikinis. I don't have a tanned ass, but
can you just lend me one of the bottoms and
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. You'll wear. Yes.
I'll be the guy. I'll do a guy thing. So it'll be a bit of a spoof, but
okay.
I'll oil. And then you can put your hair up in a man bun.
Yeah.
And look wistfully out over the water.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
But my reality of it, my experience in reality is it's far more diverse across age and economic background and reason and like cultural and whatever. It's amazing when I drive around and you actually live with people and see other people doing this. There's a lot of it where people just want to be by themselves. They're not photographing every single thing with expensive drones and whatever. And there's old people that have done this forever. There's people that decided to be kind of smart about the way that everything's inflated right now. Sell their stuff, get rid of it,
simplify, strip it down.
Strip it down, because you're gonna get smashed by the reckoning economically that's coming around the bend. And so and for me, it was necessary so that I could always be with my daughter and take her out and be out of the city, and because her mom's in the city, and so to keep that relationship and everything smooth, I needed to be able to be in the city, but you could never afford it as a musician in Toronto, especially without being able to work with the COVID stuff. So
yeah,
it worked out great. I made a beautiful spot. I've never been a carpenter or anything like that with trades, but I learned a lot building this van.
Yeah,
and it's actually really cozy and really beautiful. And I had some help and learned from everyone that helped me. And 9 months of the year, it's like a dream. I got beautiful lighting and a comfortable bed, and and I knew I was going to live in there. I knew it was going to be cold. I knew I was going to be in there full time. So I prioritized the right things, right? So I have a beautiful bed space, and then in a little kitchen and all that stuff. And I wish I had some good pictures, but I'm just not like that invested in my Instagram branding.
Going back to, because you said you had water in the van. Tell my little heartbeat listeners about Drinking the Water, your new podcast, which I love and I highly recommend. I'm guessing that part of the reason that you started your podcast, because you do have a lot to say. You're very smart, well-read, worldly. You've traveled all over the world. You're very sensitive to what's going on in the world and around you and within you. And it's a place where you can share what you're passionate about and kind of evolve as you continue to evolve, your opinions evolve. It's a place you can have this shared exchange with people you admire who have important things to say that maybe they align with how you feel, but you don't feel like you're seeing the stories out there in the world. Well, drinking
That's
the
it.
water
Yeah.
is a place. I'm going to send you the bill for this advertisement that we've just done. You're my new sponsor.
Yeah.
For
This podcast brought to you by another podcast. The reason why I made that podcast was because I am so inspired by so many people. I sit down with these people, or I'm on the phone with these people. These are people that have just have just blown my mind and my heart and my life wide open with their insights, with their mentorship, with the things I'm learning from them and the experiences we've gone through. I feel like there's something nourishing. There's something that shows the connectedness of all things, and that's why I chose to call it Drinking the Water, was because it was something life-giving. It was something that brought us back to our nature, whereas drinking the Kool-Aid, quote unquote, was basically, buying something that wasn't true.
Mm-hmm.
Drinking the Kool-Aid is like falling for the false guru and the cult leader and the lies that are being told to manipulate us for the benefit of few. But drinking the water is what we're all made of. The water is what connects us. And so when we drink water together, it's almost like a physical form of prayer, and sharing prayer and entering a physical or a spiritual space. Drinking the water, that's what it means to me. And I wanted to bring those kinds of nourishing conversations and those people that are dedicated to serving, and I keep using the word nourishing, and flourishing,
Yeah.
and quenching the thirst of people that are trying to grow.
Hey, my thirst was quenched when I was listening to you and in the first episodes with your guests who, uh, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have collaborated with your guests, all of your guests. And so there's something magical as a creator myself listening. It was so beautiful and inspiring. I could really feel and get a real sense for there was some energy in the conversation that reminded me of uh, that it is so important to honor that when we're triggered to create something, when we have an idea, the act of creating something and honoring that trigger and then following through and making something to do some kind of good. Listening to you and your guest speak on drinking the water reminded me of the power, the magic of just that process and that exchange, and I could hear the admiration you had for your guests.
There's so many different ways that you can get to intimacy, because we were joking about before. He's like, oh yeah, we've never done it, just so you know, out there, the listeners,
Yeah, we haven't.
like, we're comfortable with
Totally
each other, but not
platonic.
because of that. It was, but we have this other, but we do have an intimate
We
relationship
do.
in another
Oh,
with
but still, it's above clothes. Like, I keep I'm like, just to clarify though.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People
but
don't
that's
maybe people don't get that intimacy can be something that's not sexual,
well,
like
I think we've all struggled with sometimes misinterpreting that, where you feel such a close connection with someone that you kind of assume that it has to go that way. At
yeah,
least
no, I agree with you. Although
that,
I've had a different my experience has always been completely naive and like, oh, this is my buddy. And then,
yeah,
gotten to a point where, oh man, like I really don't feel this way about this person, but I have to say something, and then it
right.
changes the dynamic. But for the most part, all of my guy friends, actually all of my guy friends it's been just platonic and but intimate. We very close. Oh, I'm drawn to people who gender aside, people who are open to having, and I'm not saying that you need to tell me every single thing about your life, but please do, especially on the podcast, and then I'll sell it off in
Yeah,
sections.
right.
And, yeah, but there's at least a willingness to be, yeah, open and honest and transparent.
Yeah. That's such a beautiful gift, and we actually, I'm not sure about you, what your experience has been, because it sounds like you've had a lot more of that experience. I've had relationships that had been intimate that developed into,
Like into a friendship?
yeah,
Uh,
where that
I,
love is just, where that love for that person, that connection with that person, at some point that was explored or something that can
Mhm.
happen. It doesn't always happen, but it's nice when we see examples of people that truly love each other. It doesn't need to be that thing,
Yeah.
you
It
know.
could be. It
Yeah,
could be, but it's
I
not
knew you were
gonna
gonna
be.
go back
Okay,
there.
sorry.
Yeah.
Matt, where can my little heartbeat listeners find you and keep up with your incredible projects?
I spend more of my time on the socials actually recently, but that's generally where I do the where I'm sharing, like where I'm actually sharing from my heart and connecting, is at the moment
Instagram.
Instagram and a little bit of Facebook. Like sometimes I do lives on there. MattEpp.com does exist. You can sign up for the newsletter, which then you get news about new albums.
Thanks for that. And Drinking the Water as well. People want to check out that podcast.
Thank you for having me on A Chat with Heart.
Thank you for segueing and wrapping this up so I didn't have to. Clearly, I have issues with saying goodbye to you.
We we've had long conversations before,
I
so
know. I mean,
yeah.
it's actually only natural. Thank you for sharing so much of your story. Really. Welcome to the Heartbeat Hotline, 1-902-669-4769. I'm the host of A Chat with Heart podcast, Christina Martin, and I'm so excited you called. Leave me your question, a suggestion for the podcast, or a comment about this episode. Please be aware your message may be used on the podcast and social media. Tell me your name, where you're calling from, and it's also fine if you want to remain anonymous. Thanks for listening. Have a great fucking day.
Hi, Christina. This is Michael from Germany, from Berlin, and I just listened to your A Chat of Heart with Dale, and it was great to hear both of your voices, and I must say I never heard Dale speak so many words than in that, roughly 50 minutes or so, so I'm sure he loves you a lot. I know Dale and you now for 11 years, and Dale always, of course, is the quiet one, and so I'm glad you got him to speak a little bit more. And again, it's a great podcast, and keep on doing what you're doing, and I certainly hope I'll see you again soon and listen to both of your wonderful music. And well, I'm reading 2 books now. The Night Watchman is Louise Erdrich's book. It's very good. And Harlem Shuffle is called Some Whitehead. It's also good. Yes, I would recommend those to your audience. And you keep on going. And have a nice day. And hope to hear from you again soon. Bye-bye.
I love that you called the Heartbeat Hotline, Michael. Last time we saw Michael was at the International Folk Alliance Conference and Music Festival in New Orleans, just as the pandemic took a turn for the worse. I first met Michael in Nashville, Tennessee back in 2011 at the Americana Festival. I saw his name in a list of attendees for the festival. The list said that Michael worked for radio in Berlin, and I'd been interested in touring in Germany, getting ready for a tour. And so I invited Michael for a chat. So we met in a hotel lobby, and I told him about house concerts. Michael and his wife Birgitta held their first house concert with Dale and I in their Berlin condo. We were very sad when Birgitta passed away from cancer suddenly in April of 2015. Since then, Michael has continued to host house concerts, travel, and enjoy live music, and currently he is volunteering at a school and an online radio station. Can't wait to see you again, Michael. Sending our love. A Chat with Heart, produced and written by me, Christina Martin, co-produced and engineered by Dale Murray. check out Dale's website, dalemurray.ca. The podcast theme song, Talk About It, was written by me and recorded by Dale Murray. You can find it on all the places you stream music. Production plans for this podcast and Season 1 are supported by the Province of Nova Scotia's Women in Business Implementation Fund and the Creative Industries Fund. Special thanks to Terrence Taylor for mentoring me on hosting this podcast and really digging deep with me on my production plans for Season 1, which, let's be honest, Terrence, ended up being more like well-needed psychotherapy for me. To Crystal Seeberger at Sensory Friendly Solutions, thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me learn how to be a more inclusive, accessible, and sensory-friendly human. Visit my Patreon page to become a monthly or yearly supporter of this podcast and my music endeavors. If you're new to Patreon, it's a membership platform that helps creators get paid. Sign up at patreon.com/Christina Martin. For this to be a massive success and reach 7 billion people, I need you to share, rate, leave a review, and subscribe to A Chat with Heart on all the places you listen to podcasts. Wishing you, my little heartbeats, a great day.